In an era where the youth seek inspiration from diverse avenues, this actor resonates deeply with the aspirations and dreams of the young generation. As a dynamic figure in the world of entertainment, he's transcended the boundaries of conventional stardom to become a genuine role model for today's generation. One who values hard work, perseverance, and passion. His journey from a regular boy next door to a celebrated actor is a testament to the power of determination and self-belief, resonating deeply with a generation grappling with its own hopes and aspirations. With his captivating performances on the silver screen, his genuineness off-screen, and his infectious energy, he embodies qualities that the youth admire and seek to emulate. Please join me in welcoming the Yuva Yodha, actor Sidharth Malhotra, to NDTV Yuva. Sidharth, pleasure to have you at NDTV Yuva. Thank you so much for joining us. You can see how excited the youth is to see you here. And that's why my first question, you are regarded as a youth icon. This generation, the younger generation especially, resonates with you, the younger audiences across the country. Now, we're talking about aspirations, challenges, dreams of our youth. What role do you see the youth playing, in our country when we talk about our nation going forward? Let's start with them. What role do they play?
Well, firstly, good evening, everyone. It's always lovely coming back home. I'm a Delhi boy, Delhi ka Londa myself, and to see all the young people around here, and also to chat with you and to come chat with NDTV is always a pleasure. Yeah, I think we're the only country with such a large population of youth, and Yuva, the title today. So we have the strength. We are definitely the future, and I have seen it in my generation. There's a slight shift of everyone abroad, around the world, having more interest. Yaar, ki India mein kuch karte hain. Let's do something here. Because of the scope we have for the youngsters, whether it's using their service or whether being part of their service as employees or technicians or just having jobs. So I think India, we're pretty excited. I'm pretty excited as an individual for the country, and all that enthusiasm and energy is going to, I think, really strive to make India on the world map amongst the top 3 or the top 5.
And like you rightly said, we are the youngest country. We have the youngest youth population, when we talk about that. Well, today's youth, Sidharth, they face multitude of problems, challenges, whether it's their career paths, whether which college to get in, also personal relationships. I think to begin with, if you could, what advice would you like to give them to make, the right kind of decision, make mindful choices?
Yes, as you said, I think today's times are extremely challenging. Everything is really fast. There's also a lot of competition in every field. I think, you have to be fast on your feet, think faster. I was a generation where we had a little more time in our school and college. I went to college right here in Delhi University, and by then the Bollywood Keeda to me had caught on, so I knew what I wanted to do. But I think today, as a youngster growing up, you have many more options. Today, social media or just a device can be your life and work. So I feel mental health is something that everyone here, all the youngsters, need to be careful about, and that stems from also physical health. I feel you have to be far more conscious of what you think and what you consume or what you do if you want to be successful in life. If you want to thrive, which I'm sure everybody else here wants to. So I think today you have too much information available to you. It's how we use that information as opposed to trying to know about things, because it's at the palm of your hands today. So I think
that's why I think being mindful, like
being
having
mindful,
information, how do you use that information?
Absolutely,
I think that really is the key.
So how to use that information to your benefit, getting authentic information, doing your research correctly is the key for the coming years. Otherwise, because everything is in the palm of your hands, you can get every information wherever you are, whether you're working or you're working out or you're at home. So I think it's just about using technology. It is a tool. It is not your life. So you have to possibly zoom out of it as well and use it correctly.
Which is a really tough one. I mean, when I see,
yes.
I struggle as a mother, so I can tell you that, asking the youth to get off their phones, the social
Correct.
media platforms.
It becomes an obsession, guys, but I think it's just about you using it correctly. I would never recommend anyone to kind of replace a device from, socializing or playing sports, or just having that family time, or going out for a movie, or just going out for a park and walk. I think your recreational time cannot be based on just the palm of your hands.
I think that's a really important message, what you said. The device, really cannot, for personal, like the personal touch, personal people, your family, going out. I think that's a very important point. Sidharth, before we move on, I just want to talk about mental health. We had a session on that earlier in the day as well. I think that is most critical when we look at our youngsters today. So many issues, stress. There's a report that Gen Z, they have more stress and anxiety issues than the older generation, like me, not you, like me. So, how do you deal with mental, when you're going through stuff at work, how do you deal with it?
Yes, I think stress is something which is pretty unavoidable in terms of circumstantial situation, any profession that you're in. We used to be stressed in school and college for our exams, for deadlines, for studying. And today when we work, we have deadlines again. We're again giving exams every Friday, and we have to prepare for a role. So I think that process never ends. Whether you're in school or college, or whether you're preparing for a release, in my case, as an actor, it's how you deal with it. For me, possibly having a journey which was not from a film background, I think one thing that resonates is being little more skewed in terms of like वो घोड़े की तरह होते हैं ना, blinkers लगे होते हैं आपके left right में, क्योंकि बस आप अपनी दशा में देखो, because if you start looking, even swimmers do that, or even people who are doing a 100-meter race or 400 meters, they will just have to look at their track and run fast to perform. Because even for especially a 100-meter race, if, for example, Usain Bolt would look left at the beginning or the middle of the race, he would lose that 1 second, which is an advantage for him to beat the world record. So I think that's where I take my inspiration was. You have to be in your lane. You got to focus on where you have to go on the track. Because the moment you start looking left or right, you're already a second late, which in today's fast life could put you back years. So I feel focusing on oneself is most important for success today. Again, because we have so much information available on social media, it all looks hunky-dory and happy and exciting. And it takes a lot of effort for us as actors to look a certain way. Personally, for me, following my own track, my own path has worked because no one has a journey like mine in the industry. I come from a household in Delhi, went to college in Delhi University, did part-time modeling and then got a break there. So I'm sure there are a lot of actors from Delhi, but possibly not from the same course that I've been through. So my track is different. As far as I acknowledge that, I follow that, and I do the best within that track is something that's worked for me to handle stress. Because otherwise, if you let your mind go wild, then there's no end to having the worst case scenarios and thinking the worst.
And focus, when you say, Sidharth, focus करना बहुत ज़रूरी है. अगर हम lifestyle की बात करें, you believe in holistic well-being,
जी.
आप physical पे बहुत physical fitness के साथ जो हमने बात की, mental fitness बहुत ज़रूरी है.
जी.
Tell us a little bit, how do you? We know you're a fitness freak. We know you, really take care of your diet. I think you need to also tell the youth about eating right.
जी बिल्कुल. पहले तो आपने जो focus की बात करी, I think today आप कोई भी एक्टिविटी कर रहे हैं, अगर आप फोकस नहीं है, you're just wasting your time. Even right now, if you're talking and if you're thinking about something else, I don't think you're listening. You'll miss out on any conversation that would resonate with you. So I think focus रहना बहुत ज़रूरी है. For me, yoga has really helped me to do that. It is a physical exercise, but also helps you center. And it's also a habit and practice over the years. कि आप कोई भी एक्टिविटी अभी कर रहे हैं, like you observe who you're talking to. What you're saying, what is she asking, which is also the first of basics of acting. Now, when we are facing the camera, when we're playing a character or saying the dialogues, if we're not focused, you will never get that shot or that scene. So I think that kind of helps me. What I do on set as an actor kind of helps me in my day-to-day life. And today it's very easy to get distracted as well. So being focused is one thing. And secondly, you spoke about, say, diet and fitness.
You're very dedicated when it comes to diet and fitness.
Oh yes, again, it takes a lot to look a certain way on the screen, to look convincing in every character, also to change with every character. You have to manipulate your body and your physicality, possibly your look with every character, which takes a lot of planning. So I definitely feel planning your meals kind of helps. It helped me When I was in Bombay struggling in my early days, I used to plan very simple things the next morning to be fit. Like when I used to be in Bombay sharing with other boys, none of us could cook really well. So the first thing we used to make sure that यार fridge में हमेशा अंडे होने चाहिए, and that time we used to eat a lot more eggs, and then just boiled potatoes or sweet potato. So you have to plan ahead to be fitness and have that meal inside. Even today, as much as I can with our schedule, I try to plan my meals with my team, because if you don't have proper nutrition, you're just not going to survive the day. You're not going to have the stamina or the mood to go through the day with so much energy or say the things that you want to. I really believe in a holistic way of fitness where whatever you consume really affects you physically and mentally. It kind of changes your mood if you're consuming junk food all the time or just having food that is excess of something. So I feel planning your meals is something that works. Definitely moving, man. If you don't want to go to the gym also, moving, playing a sport, getting out for a walk, for a swim. If you have an animal that you can walk with, taking your dog out for a walk is one of the best exercises I feel. Is very relaxing. But you have to. I think today to survive and to really do well, if you don't do it, you'll learn it the hard way. So you rather start incorporating those habits today to be successful in whichever field that you're in.
It's like जैसे हमें कहा जाता था ना, जो अब खाओगे वो आगे जाके लगेगा. I think it's like we've been hearing this from our grandparents, and I think we realize it now as we grow. So I think maybe, like you said, if they learn it early, they won't have to go through that.
All those things I think the elders spoke about came from a source of science, which also I believe in yoga and Ayurveda. I think they have a very, very holistic approach towards being fitness, towards being like energetic, towards looking a certain way. For me, anything to do with looking good or having a particular kind of skin or hair first starts with what I consume, whether it's certain kind of vegetables you eat, certain kind of oils you put on your body, certain kind of proteins that you eat. It all affects and shows on your face.
It really says you look what you eat.
Absolutely.
I mean, in your mind, what you said, I think अगर आप ज़्यादा खाते वही होता है.
सब दिखता है. ये उसी का product है जो मैंने खाया है.
Which is not easy, Sidharth. You've been doing a lot of action films. I mean, आपने बहुत romantic films के, now भी, a lot of action films, Yoda, even your OTT, the police. To tell us how difficult, how challenging is it to do action films, also doing those scenes जो आपने aircraft में की थी, different scenes, and also to do those kind of scenes, the stamina, the energy.
Yodha is a film which is still in cinemas, guys. It is playing. It's an action film that I just did. And uske liye, because I'm playing a commando in Yodha, we're trying to set up a new character, a new unit and force. It's not easy to just pretend on camera on everything. Maybe dialogues at times, but when you're doing some action, whatever action it might be, it has to look convincing. So for Yodha specifically, one had to look and train like a commando, and it's something that didn't happen overnight. So again, we plan where we go months in advance. We have an action team that trains you with actual weapons, whether it's knife or whether it's handling a gun. I wanted to personally go leaner, as most of our current commandos are. They'll always be very lean and very sharp. So I did lose weight for the character. That's where, again, planning comes in and diet comes in. But I personally enjoy to be more physically active. I think I get very agitated if I don't sweat within the day. Even today, this morning, I was in Delhi and I would just take a bicycle, wear a mask and go around cycling because Delhi has better roads. So I think that's most important, and that for us to be convincing as an actor, for me to be convincing as a character, we wanted to push the limits of action, of hand-to-hand combat. We got a very cool team from South Africa which came and trained with me, and a local Indian team. So full marks to them, and I thought we came up with some really cool first-time action sequences. Like, I don't know, I don't think many heroes have really fought in an airplane bathroom.
That's why I asked you that. That's why I asked you that specifically.
In an airplane toilet, and I've got long arms, as you guys can see. तो मेरे लंबे हाथ अगर मैं ऐसे ही करता था तो एक तरफ से दूसरी तरफ बाहर हो जाते थे. So we had to train कि आप एक एयरप्लेन के टॉयलेट में कैसे लड़ोगे. अगर आपको करना पड़ा तो बहुत मज़ा आया. आई थिंक कोई नए नए सीक्वेंस करने को मिले एंड वी आर सुपर हैप्पी दैट पीपल हु आर वाचिंग इट आर एंजॉयिंग द फिल्म.
सिद्धार्थ, मज़ा ज़रूर आया, लेकिन ऑब्वियसली इसमें परसिवियरेंस और मेहनत बहुत है, जैसे आप कह रहे थे. नथिंग गोज विदाउट दैट. अगर हम बात करें कैरेक्टर बिल्डिंग की, ट्रेनिंग, जब हम ट्रेनिंग की बात करें, फिटनेस की बात करें, एक स्पोर्ट्स एक ऐसी चीज़ है विच हेल्प्स बिल्ड अ कैरेक्टर. और आज हम अगर इंडिया में देखें, we getting a lot more medals. I mean, every sport. Let's not just talk about cricket. तो स्पोर्ट्स एक करियर ऑप्शन भी है. यू सी दिस अ लॉट हैपनिंग. इवन मूवीज़ में आपने भी कई किरदार में आपने स्पोर्ट्स खेला है एक्टिवली, फ्रॉम स्टूडेंट ऑफ द ईयर एंड डिफरेंट स्पोर्ट्स यू हैव प्लेड. सो व्हाट, हाउ डू यू थिंक स्पोर्ट्स कैन एक्चुअली हेल्प द यूथ besides character building? Just throw some light on that.
Well, जैसा कि I really think that sports is a must for any youngster, you know, boy or a girl at whatever age. It has personally taught me a lot growing up in Delhi. We are little fortunate कि हमारे पास जगह है, हमारे पास पार्क्स हैं. जहाँ पे मैं पला बड़ा था वहाँ पे luckily हमारे पार्क्स में मेरे क्लास 10th और 12th के दौरान हमें एक हाफ कोर्ट बास्केटबॉल का मिला था हमारे पार्क में, which we were very excited. फिर उसके बाद मैंने टेनिस भी खेला. फिर उसके बाद I got into a team sport जो comparatively कम खेली जाती है इंडिया में, which is rugby. I got a chance to play rugby in Delhi for a club called Delhi Hurricanes, which is playing really well right now. उस टाइम पे क्लब से बहुत कम लोग जानते थे स्पोर्ट को. आई थिंक पर वो जो ट्रेनिंग आपको, कोई भी स्पोर्ट जो कंपेरेटिव स्पोर्ट आपको ट्रेनिंग देता है, वो आपको किसी भी इंटरेक्शन से या किसी भी इवनिंग से नहीं मिलेगा. Because you go through every emotion in a sport. You're frustrated, you're angry, you're excited, you're dejected at times, you're kind of calculating how to move forward. It requires planning. So I think subconsciously is one of the best trainings, and I really hope and pray that everyone finds that time within the day to play that sport, whether you're playing table tennis indoors, whether you're playing football outside or cricket outside or rugby outside or swimming, and you time yourself with your friends. I think that's going to go a long way, because the time that you get in school or college to play sports, it becomes more and more challenging. It never comes back.
Never comes.
It becomes more challenging. So अभी उस time का फायदा उठाओ. Sports खेलो, बाहर निकलो. Play outdoors. I'm a big endorser for being outdoor and trying to find something within your environment to be fit.
कोई भी एक स्पोर्ट हो, चुन के खेलें जरूर. I mean, it's good
जी,
for your
बिल्कुल.
health physically and mentally.
अगर आपको पेड़ दिखता है, try and कि यार इसको मैं एक महीने में मैं कोशिश करूँगा कि पेड़ को चढ़ जाऊँ. It's not difficult. It's possible. You'll find a way.
It's about setting that target.
Absolutely.
Okay, we are also getting questions, you know, because we have the hashtag since the morning running.
Okay.
So Raghav Nagpal, Sidharth has a question for you. You've done a lot of nation-first movies. Has watching NDTV staying in Delhi shaped your thinking? That's okay.
Well, NDTV is close to home again. We grew up watching NDTV and all the talks and the reports from the beginning. Now I even have the app which I use,
Yes.
Which is quite handy. But I'm sure, I think it's helped me to be well informed about the country and what's happening around. But whether it's helped me choosing films, I don't think so. For me, yes, I've been more inclined in the recent years to real life heroes, or something that a hero would do which would impact the nation. Starting from Sher Shah, you know, he's a national hero, and it's something that resonated with me right from the beginning. That it's so amazing that we have such individuals who would go to such lengths to protect all of us.
Yes.
And I thought it's so much, you know, interesting to tell his story on the big screen and give people that experience. You know, what it takes to be a soldier and go right till the end. And we got so much love for that film. And then whether it's Indian Police Force, you know, working with Amazon on a series, which is not based on a real character, but it still has something which is country-driven, you can be proud of. Then you feel that the characters are, you know, dealing with such an important issue at hand. Or then now it's Yodha, which is far more commercial, but again, this, you know, correct, the message of this commando and this character is, you know, he wants to prove it to his nation that he's worthy of that Yodha uniform. And that's what I find always very interesting. I think maybe it's the small boy in me who saw my grandfather was from the army, and I saw very little of him because he passed away very early. And I remember, you know, जितने भी यहाँ पे हमारे फौजी हैं, उनके ट्रंक्स आते हैं घर पे, या हमेशा किसी भी फौजी घर पे, चाहे वो सर्विस में हो या ना हो, उनका ट्रंक होता है. तो मैं वो ट्रंक खोल के हमेशा देखता था. I used to be amazed by seeing his belt, his uniform, his cap, his, you know, different medals, or or having some other camo, outfits there. And I was like, so cool यार, कैसे करते होंगे वो, क्या करते होंगे? तो I think वो मेरा बचपन का जो
वो रोल्स कर रहे हैं आप
जी
अच्छी तरह
करेक्ट,
कर
तो
रहे हैं.
बड़े
I think
होके
you're living
मैं
that dream.
आई एम लिविंग दोज कैरेक्टर्स all thanks to my grandfather who served in the Indian Army and do something which really means a lot to those characters, whether it's saving the nation, whether it's proving himself that he's worthy of the nation, or whether it's a real life hero who saved and served the nation till the end of his life. So I think all of that summarizes into my childhood dream of becoming a officer
On screen.
worthy of
Yeah.
the country.
Okay, so the next question before we open to the youth here, the audience here, and I still have a lot of questions, but we'll take Ankur's question. What is your advice for the youth for putting the nation first?
Well, I think my advice is that we live in a country today that we can be proud of. I think India is on the world map in the last decade or so. I have seen the difference when we travel a lot for our work that, they treat Indians differently. I think they understand, they acknowledge that we are a power to look out for. Purely because of the first point we spoke about, that we have so many youngsters here. We're one of the youngest countries with the largest population of youth. So I think being a youth, you need to know that and use that to your advantage, where you could also team up with people who have the similar interests, similar goals, and try and create something, whether it's an app, whether it's a job, whether you manufacture something. I think it's full of possibilities. And there are endless markets because we have so many consumers. So I think it's a great time to be a young entrepreneur, to try something interesting in India. So I think there's a great future for all the youngsters.
Okay, just want to go, I want to go back, Sidharth, a little bit about, आप एक outsider हैं film industry से, you are a Delhi ka londa, like you said. I don't know how that sounds when I say it, but yeah, you are a Delhi boy. You must be missing the Delhi winters, the chole bhature, the saag and makki ki roti. But how difficult was it, if you can just take us through your journey, because also the message you would like to give these youngsters, if any of them want to join the film industry, how difficult, what were the challenges, and what's the message, and what would you suggest them कि वो किस तरह कर सकते हैं जैसे आपने किया? I mean, obviously besides the hard work.
Well, I think एक तो हर किसी की जर्नी अलग होती है. मेरे लिए पर्सनली इट्स what has kept me going this journey from being a Delhi boy, Delhi ka londa, to all the way to Bombay and Bollywood, and to have that first break. It took me. I went to Mumbai when I was, say, 21 years old, and I did my first film when I was 26, and it released at 27, 28. So वो जो 5 साल का सफ़र था, उसमें सफरिंग भी थी. वो सिर्फ सफ़र नहीं था. It was not all hunky dory. I think you need to be a little more strong-headed in the initial years, because you will not have answers to everything. जब मैं बॉम्बे गया था, मुझे एक पिक्चर के लिए बुलाया गया था जब मैं 21 साल का था, कि यार आपको वो पिक्चर मिल गई है, हम लॉन्च कर रहे हैं आप सबको, हम उसकी ट्रेनिंग करते हैं, प्रेपरेशन करते हैं. मैं वहाँ पे गया भी पहले 6-8 महीने. एक हमारे डायरेक्टर साहब थे, एक प्रोड्यूसर थे, हमने 8 महीने उसकी प्रेपिंग करी. फिर पता चला 8 महीने के बाद कि वो लोग कोई और पिक्चर बना रहे हैं और हमारी पिक्चर नहीं बन रही है. तो फिर आप you become unemployed, and you kind of realize that whatever you might think will not always go into plan. It's what you're left with at hand that you have to make the most of it. To me, एक मोटो यार कि हमेशा डटे रहो. अगर आपने वो जर्नी और वो एक दिशा चुन ली है, जैसा पहले कह रहा था, अगर आपने वो ट्रैक अपना चुन लिया है, तो फिर चाहे वो आपके पैरों में क्रैम्प आए, या आप थक रहे हो, या आपका पसीना ज़्यादा आ रहा है, आप बस डटे रहो टिल यू रीच द फिनिश लाइन. और मैं उसी लाइन पे लगा, जो कि मैं आज भी इस्तेमाल करता हूँ, कि every Fridays will come, different challenges will come. But if you're just at it, maybe people will call you a little more adamant. They'll call you कि यार आप शायद सुनते नहीं हो, आप थोड़े ढीठ हो. पर कभी-कभी ये क्वालिटीज़ या जो खामियां लोग कहते हैं, इनका फ़ायदा भी बहुत होता है. Because अगर मैं if I had at that time 21, 22 decided that, oh my God, this something I came for, it didn't really work out, and not adapted to being an assistant director. At that time, that obstacle pushed me or nudged me into being an assistant director, which gave me all the experience that I needed to understand about filmmaking, to be a better actor, to be technically more sound. तो मैंने वो 2 साल बिताए. एक पिक्चर थी My Name is Khan, शाहरुख सर, काजोल मैम एंड करण जौहर की, जहाँ पे मैंने असिस्टेंट डायरेक्शन का काम किया बाकायदा 2 साल. और वहीं से किस्मत से हमारी आई थिंक वो जो कास्टिंग ऑफ स्टूडेंट ऑफ द ईयर शुरू हुई. सो इट्स फनी, जो शुरुआत में आपको एक चीज़ लगती है जो ऑब्स्टिकल है, अगर आप डटे रहो तो कैसा वो ऑब्स्टिकल एक एडवांटेज में बदल जाता है आपको नहीं पता चलेगा. You have to just give it time and you have to perceive it and chase your dream.
And I think जो आपने किया not giving up. I think वो
Absolutely.
एक बहुत ज़रूरी चीज़ थी. And looking back और अब आप internationally भी अगर मैं globally की बात करूँ, you're one actor who is going across. आपकी जो ये OTT the Indian police did really well globally as well. और ये Turkish actress ने भी she showed interest to work with you. So are we going to see you you're going international very soon?
Well, I think world is only getting smaller and smaller. It's in the palm of my hands, and definitely collaborating with a platform like Amazon gives you that reach. It reaches around 200 countries. And जब आप ऐसे कुछ पढ़ते हैं कि किसी और country की कोई actress चाहती है, I think yeah, for sure. I always feel like we consume so much international content sitting in India.
Yeah.
It's high time कि हम लोग उनके लिए कुछ करें या वो हमसे collaborate करें. तो definitely अगर ऐसी कोई कहानी हो, character हो, maybe we'll see a collaboration in the coming months or coming years.
Okay, so then we will probably see you then.
Well, I think so. I think world is getting smaller and smaller. Whether Hollywood is coming here or India is going there. You've seen the Oscars last year.
And you always try new stuff.
Sorry?
I said you always try. You want to try new stuff.
Absolutely. I think it's about collaborating with different filmmakers around the world, and it's giving better content.
Yeah.
I think they're also looking inwards towards the South Asian community, whether it's the West. We've seen last year the Oscars, RRR going there and killing it with their songs. So definitely, I think the world is only getting smaller.
Okay, I think I'm sure the youth would, the youngsters here would want to know something. आपने कहा कि you were as an assistant director for 2 years, right?
Yes.
So ऐसे कई instances होंगे सिद्धार्थ जो lives में ups or downs आते हैं. How do you stay motivated during that time? Because I'm sure हम सबके life में होता है ऐसे that you feel demotivated, you feel like ये क्यों नहीं हुआ. You may realize it later that well it wasn't meant to be and something better came up.
Yeah.
But at that point, even now in your career, how do you deal with it? How do you stay motivated? I think that's one question. Before we go to the audience for their questions, I think that message is important for them.
I think for me, motivation has always come when I've been by myself and cut off the noise of people around you. Sometimes जब आप किसी भी संगति में हो, even if they have the best intentions for you, they will still give you their point of view as to what one needs to do in that situation. I would suggest that it's about you and you go inwards, whether it's a little bit of a, meditation or not really meditation in a serious sense, but I think you'll get answers when you're by yourself. मेरे लिए जितने भी answers, जितनी भी decision making था उस वक्त पे to be an assistant director also came when I was traveling in a rickshaw with a friend of mine, and he mentioned कि assistant direction का काम क्या होता है. And जैसे मैंने उसको drop किया उस rickshaw ride में जब मैं अकेले चल रहा था, तो मैंने realize किया यार अरे it's so amazing to be on a film set for an outsider just to observe. This is what I should do from here on, and in the next 3 months, the next 4 months, that's all I was doing. And that idea only came when I made that decision on that rickshaw ride by myself. It wasn't that my parents told me to do it. It wasn't that somebody elder or some guru came and just give me that answer. I think all the answers are within. आप बस थोड़ा सा time निकालें, एकांत में रहे, and you will find that one direction that you're looking for to break through in whichever field you're in.
Okay, so I think मेरे तो सवाल आते रहेंगे बीच में, but let's open to the youngsters. I can see so many hands out there. So let's take the first question. Sidharth, ready to take on?
Yeah, sure. Come.
Can we please hand over the mic?
Hello.
Hi.
So we know you've done a lot of action films, and even Yodha's an action-packed film. So could you tell us how many of the stunts do you actually do? And how many of them are like CGI or stunt double?
Bro, all the stunts in Yoda are all me. You can see it. Pura face, itni mehnat kari yahan pe maine. It's not a film that we've used too much CGI because it was based on a plane. It was based on a real-life commando. He's not really flying everywhere. So it's more hand-to-hand. It's all the roles that you see, all the gun action that you see. It's all me. The face is right there.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for that question. Can we move?
So, of course, being such a famous actor, you've played many roles, both comedic and serious. For you, which of these kinds of roles is, first of all, easier to play? And secondly, how do you prepare for different kinds of roles?
Well, I think firstly, no role is easy to play. Everything that you see on screen is not happening by magic. It requires a lot of prep. It requires a lot of discussions, a lot of planning that goes into doing that character and scene. I started off, actually even my first film was not purely a romantic film. We were swimming, cycling, basketball, everything happened in Student of the Year. So my introduction to the movies happened with a lot of physical activity. And then of course films like Kapoor and Sons or Hasi To Pasi gave me that romantic or that softer side to it, which also had enough of its challenges. But today if you ask me physically, obviously which is more challenging is definitely doing action. It takes a lot of sweat and blood to get in shape. It requires a lot of discipline. And in that same shape, you've got to emote, you've got to make sure that you rehearse those moves again and again, you're getting injured, you have to look for your diet. So possibly action is more physically more taxing. But as long as people enjoy the action and we give something new, it's all worth it. All the blood and sweat makes it worth it.
Question. I'm from Aft, Noida, and my name is Apeksha Agrawal. My question to you is, do you believe cinema influence the mindset and choices of the youth, and what responsibilities do actors have in shaping the positive narratives?
Well, of course, I think any medium of entertainment today that would have an impact on some audience. And I think as makers, as directors, as actors, at least I've always been conscious of putting something out there which is palatable to the whole family. मैं हमेशा वही सोचता हूँ यार कि ये family देख सकती है. Obviously, you know, some films which are aggressive or action oriented, even in Brothers or an Ek Villain, the core emotion was connected to a family member being lost, and you connect to that. So that's a responsibility that I take, whether it's films like Shersha or Mission Majnu or IPF, Indian Police Force. I think the intent is rightfully there to inspire the youth to understand as to how much sacrifice that our defense forces do. So that's the obligation that I take when you come into the theater and you'll watch. You'll have more respect for whether it's the police wala that you meet, whether it's the army officer that you see, or even in Yodha, it's us trying to entertain you for sure first, but trying to tell you a story that what if a situation like this happened and a plane was hijacked, what would that one soldier do or can do? So I personally like stories which can inspire, and that's my attempt. And I think we should be slightly conscious of the audience we are catering to. But that being said, there is audience for all kinds. Yeah. There is audience that like dark cinema, the audience that likes comedy, the audience that like action. Because you've seen that in the recent Fridays that people are consuming all kind of content now. So as long as a director, actor, maker knows their core audience, they can have a different language and different tonality to it.
So you like stories, I mean, you like to do stories which inspire you, and I think that's the reason today, as a youth icon, you inspire so many people out here. So it's interesting how you choose the right films and, I'm
happy about that. That's the attempt, always to have an inspirational point of view. A character would have a struggle which would eventually lead him to an inspiring end.
Please go ahead with the next question.
Ujjwal Agrawal, and I am from AFT Noida. So it's been 11 years since you made a debut from the Student of the Year movie, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. Then so many theatrical releases you have done, and last few movies you have done on OTT, like Mission Majnu, Shersha, and sir, after that in web series also Indian Police Service, again the theatrical release. So sir, how do you manage such a workload? And sir, what are the hurdles as an actor you face? So because being an actor is not easy, because when I heard from the people, they say like, वो तो actor हैं, मतलब easy जिंदगी जी रहे हैं. Sir, tell me about this.
नहीं यार, बिल्कुल नहीं, ये मिसकंसेप्शन मुझे भी लगा जब मैं दिल्ली में पला बड़ा था यहाँ से. जब आप बाहर से देखते हो तो लगता है कि यार इतना चकाचक क्या ज़िंदगी होगी. But if you see, even right now, I'd have a team member. I'll have a team of people here, whether it's your hair and makeup, whether it's your costume, whether it's your food and assistant, whether it's your PR. So it requires a team. To manage a team, वो हम ही करते हैं, हम ही planning करनी होती है. हर चीज़ में मेहनत जाती है. So I think it takes a lot of effort to look like this, to talk, have this information. You have to catch up on what's happening around the world. You need to be aware of your scenes, your dialogues, your directors, so mentally, physically, I think acting for me, now I can say that is challenged me in every aspect whatsoever. Whether it's my fitness, whether it's my mental health, whether it's my personality, whether it's my habits. तो ये आपको constantly challenge करता है. हर किसी एक्टर के लिए अलग अलग चैलेंजेस होते हैं. मुझे बहुत वक्त लग गया टू अंडरस्टैंड हाउ दिस बिजनेस वर्क्स. पीपल डीलिंग बिहाइंड द कैमरा भी बहुत ज़रूरी है, एंड नॉट ओनली पीपल डीलिंग इन फ्रंट ऑफ द कैमरा. दूसरा जो से पहले आपका सवाल था कि यार अलग अलग मीडियम्स, वो आप लोगों के ऊपर है. इट्स अप टू द ऑडियंस व्हाट दे कंज्यूम आवर कंटेंट इन. टुडे OTT platforms have become very very easily accessible and people are consuming a lot of content OTT. तो फिर मैंने डिसाइड किया यार कि यार रोहित शेट्टी जी इंडियन पुलिस फोर्स बना रहे हैं तो उस पर भी आते हैं. फिर आप सिनेमा घर बीच में जब लॉकडाउन हो गया था तो सिनेमा घर बंद थे, तब हमने शेरशाह तब भी रिलीज़ करी OTT पे कि हमने कहा यार कि लोगों को पिक्चर देखने को मिले. एंड नाउ सिनेमाज हैव ओपनड अप, सो वीव कम बैक इन द सिनेमाज विद योद्धा व्हिच इज़ प्लेइंग इन सिनेमाज राइट नाउ. तो आई थिंक दैट इज़ ड्रिवन बाय द ऑडियंस. मैं एक एक्टर हूँ यार, जहाँ पे आप बुलाओगे परफॉर्मेंस करने को तैयार हूँ. यहाँ पे भी हम रेडी अगर वो मेरे को कोई सीन बोले, एक्शन बोले, बट इट ऑल डिपेंड्स ऑन द ऑडियंस एंड व्हाट दे वांट टू कंज्यूम. कल अगर कोई नया ऐप खुलेगा तो उसमें भी मैं करूँगा कुछ ना कुछ.
Interesting. So we're going to take the last question क्योंकि अभी मेरे सवाल बाकी हैं. So
Hello, sir. I'm Saina Mehra from Modern School, Barakhamba Road. And all of us are huge fans of yours. And it's indeed a privilege to have this opportunity to interact with you. And my question to you, sir, is that you're known to be one of the most calm and composed actors in Bollywood. So how do you manage to, maintain that composure and calmness in every situation that you face?
I think, well, I don't know if I'm so calm and composed in every situation. Maybe I'm like the ducks, right, which looks great from the above. And आपको नीचे मेरे पाँव हिलते हुए नहीं दिख रहे हैं, जो कि मैं पैडल कर रहा हूँ internally. But I definitely feel it took many years to come to that comfort and zone, being in the limelight, working in front of the cameras. For me, yoga is something that really helped. And also getting to know yourself. I think when you're in school, when you come to college, it's an amazing period of self-discovery. And by the time you hit your 20s and late 20s, I think you've kind of figured out as to this is where your personality is at its best. तो मुझे वो एक जो सेंटर है उसको ढूंढने में काफ़ी वक्त लगा. I think it's still a journey. I won't say I'm equally calm, but I think physical fitness and yoga and mental health management is something that I do on a regular basis. Everybody should do that, I think, to survive the day.
well, I think we won't take more questions. Maybe we come back to you for the last question. But I have some questions. I think some fun questions. I hope you all enjoy it. So Sidharth, it's like a rapid fire. I won't call it a rapid fire. If you weren't an actor, what career path?
Are we getting a hamper?
No?
Okay,
but you said action bol sakte, so maybe we'll think what it could be. So that's why we're keeping time for that as well, right? Hamper nahi hai, but maybe something more interesting. We'll see. Okay, if you weren't an actor, what career path might have you chosen?
If I wasn't an actor, I always liked being outdoors and physically active. And मुझे याद है दिल्ली से हम लोग जाते थे ऋषिकेश में रिवर राफ्टिंग करने के लिए, जो आज भी बहुत ही कूल स्पोर्ट है. तो मैं जब वहाँ पे गया था, I think I was 17, 18, and I'd gone there twice, back to back in 3 months. And I was saying, that's what I want to be, man. You're outdoors, यहाँ पे river है, आप राफ्टिंग कर रहे हो, पानी आ रहा है, आहा इतना मज़ा है. वहाँ पे जब मैं इंस्ट्रक्टर को देखता था तो वहाँ पे क्या, what a life है, out in the outdoors. So I would be like an adventure sport trainer or a coach or an enthusiast.
Lovely. Okay, have you ever used your acting skills to get out of a tricky situation in real life? अब acting में माहिर है तो किस तरह हम कभी use किया है?
Well, yeah, when again going back to the days when I was an assistant director, I remember assistant direction or struggling doesn't pay that much. So one had to do some part-time jobs of modeling to make that extra buck. तो हमेशा आपको schedule में time नहीं मिलता था. तो मेरे जो फर्स्ट एडी थे, जो मेरे बॉस थे, जिन्होंने पिक्चर बनाई है अग्निपथ और शमशेरा और ब्रदर्स मेरे साथ भी, करण मल्होत्रा, तो उनको कभी कभी मेरे को बहाना मार के छुट्टी करनी पड़ती थी ताकि मैं जाके एक फ़ोटो शूट करके आता था, जिससे मुझे आई शुड मेक इनफ मनी टू पे द रेंट इन डूइंग दैट. सो दैट फोन कॉल यूज्ड टू बी माय परफॉर्मेंस एवरी मॉर्निंग. नॉट एवरी मॉर्निंग एक्चुअली, मे बी once in 3 months, once in 6 months. मैंने 2 बार बोला होगा, where I've really pretended to be unwell and sick to get that day off where I could go and shoot and make some extra buck.
मारने में आपने कई बार use किया. Okay, what's the most unexpected skill that you have learned from acting or from a specific role? कुछ ऐसा skill आपने सीखा है किसी movie में?
I think हर film में, हर character में अलग-अलग learnings होती है. चाहे be it like a film like like एक विलन, जैसे एक विलन में मैंने पहली बार इतना अग्रेसिव कैरेक्टर किया था. So when you have to be really aggressive on camera, we're not pretending. We have to get our body heated up. Your nervous system is aggressive. You know, your face has to get that blood flow. It is a very technical job to pretend that. So to understand that technicality, it took me that film to kiya. I used to do push-ups before to get my body really warmed up before any angry scene. And that was, I think, an interesting way of understanding that how even acting stems from manipulating your emotions. To that extent that you can eventually control them over the years. अब शायद थोड़ा आसान होता है to get that level, but it taught me to explore so many of my emotions that today it helps me keep my mental health or calmness balance.
Okay, since
you
it's
control your heart rate.
Sorry, आपने कहा it's taught you so much, right? अगर emotions की बात करें, emotions से most emotional moment in a film.
Most emotional moment in a film. I think for me, the most challenging and emotional moment would be the last ending scene of Captain Vikram Batra in Sher Shah. Because doing death scenes is very, very difficult. It's something that everyone's pretending. Nobody knows कि क्या होता है उस वक्त. तो वो आपकी interpretation है कि कोई अपने last कुछ seconds में क्या expression देगा, क्या feel करेगा. तो मेरे लिए जब हमारी पूरी टीम हम लोग कारगिल में शूट कर रहे थे कैप्टन विक्रम बत्रा की जो हमने कहानियाँ सुनी थी और जब वहाँ शहीद हुए तो वो लास्ट जो मैंने एक सीन है, एक शॉट है जब किया था, आई थिंक वो बहुत ही मुश्किल था इमोशनली एज एन एक्टर टू अंडरस्टैंड द डेप्थ ऑफ कि यार उस वक्त कोई इंसान या कैप्टन विक्रम बत्रा क्या सोच रहे होंगे. और आई थिंक आप बस थोड़ी प्रेपरेशन करते हो, आप सोचते हो उनके माइंड सेट पे और जैसे ही एक्शन होता है देन यू लेट योर इंस्टिंक्ट्स टेक ओवर, वेदर इट्स योर टीयर्स, वेदर इट्स योर फेस, वेदर इट्स योर वॉइस, वेदर इट्स योर ब्रेथ. तो आई थिंक वो सीन मेरे लिए सबसे चैलेंजिंग था इमोशनली टू गेट राइट.
An emotional scene and I think you did it really well. Well, Siddharth, आपने हमसे बात की. Thank you so much.